is clear for forerunner 1 from the start. Skeleton drag, skeleton 출발했습니다. Forerunner 2 on deck. Forerunner 1 through the finish. That is clear for forerunner 2 from the start. Skeleton drag, skeleton 출발했습니다.
Hi.
We now have 5 minutes for the third forerunner, 5 minutes to start with the third forerunner. 세 번째 선수가 스타트 5분전입니다. 세 번째 선수가 5분전입니다.
사람이 넘어갈 것 같아, 이 사람은. 1번이 중국인가? 아니야.
2 minutes to start for forerunner 3. 2 minutes to start for forerunner 3. 세 번째 선수자 스타트 2분 전입니다. 스타트 2분 전입니다. One minute to start for forerunner 3. 1 minute to start for forerunner 3. 전주자 스타트 1분 전입니다. 전주자 스타트 1분 전입니다. We have 5 minutes to start heat 1. 5 minutes to start heat 1.
Good morning and welcome to the Olympic Sliding Centre in PyeongChang, Korea, the venue for the 2018 Olympic Winter Games. And it has been a long time since top international competition was here. Hello everybody, my name is Martin Haven and welcome to the season opener, the 2024-25 IBSF Skeleton World Cup. Here for the first of two heats in the first race for women's skeleton this weekend. There'll be another tomorrow, Sunday, and a massive field of 38 sleds from 19 different nations, among whom we have five, in fact, brand new runners. So this 2018 metre track completed in 2017. We had a World Cup in 2017, the Winter Games, of course, in 2018. And it starts with a relatively flat, shallow start. This is Milano Cortina with a star record of 4.92. Long run down into turn one, then one of the key corners already, turn two. Big looping left-hander. If you get that wrong, you lose speed at the top of the track and all the way down. 3 and 4 into corner 5, and then big corner 6. First real pressure on the track. Little dink at 7. Corner 8 sets you up for a nice big right-hander at turn 9. This too causes a lot of problems with its 2 and a bit pressures. Quick flick into 10, 11, over the jump down into turn 12. Looping long left-hander. Speed's now really growing. Turn 13, huge turn 14 at the bottom. Uphill on the exit to turn 15 and 16. Track record held by Olympic champion Lizzie Arnold from Great Britain, who won her first Olympic gold medal here in PyeongChang. Beg your pardon, won her second Olympic gold medal here in PyeongChang. PyeongChang was a very successful games for British skeleton. Lizzie Arnold won gold. Laura Dees took the bronze medal in the women's skeleton, and in the men's there was a bronze also for Dom Parsons, all of whom now not sliding at the moment. Laura Dees just having her first child, and Lizzie Arnold already a mum and working on other things. Dom Parsons and his partner are splitting their time between the West Country of England and Australia, where Jackie Narracotte's family come from, or Jackie Parsons, as she now is. So 38 sleds, massive field, and of course this is as a result of the demise of the Intercontinental Cup, which used to be the second tier of sliding at the end of 2002-2003 season. So we've got more top sliders in the top class. As a result, 25 sleds go through, we'll remind ourselves. Sled Park just a little while ago. Valentina Margalio, there she is on the left-hand side, celebrated her birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to her. Kimberly Voss getting in those miles. Good to see Sun Bin Young around as well, the Olympic champion. Let's get underway then with our World Cup champion, Kimberly Voss of the Netherlands. She starts the competition. Start record 4.92, 5.19 for Kim. Already a 6-time gold medalist in women's skeleton. And she is going to set the times that everybody else will have to follow. Now, they were racing here last week in the Asian Cup. That was open to all sorts of different athletes. There were 45 entries in the field. Kim has raced on this track before, raced in the World Cup here in 2017, finished in 3rd, and then she finished in 8th place in the Winter Games. So finish time 53.60. There's Joske LeConte, her team coach, former Dutch teammate. So Also being coached by Kristen Bromley, and as ever on a Bromley sled. So nice load as ever from Kim. Last 2 or 3 seasons has been superbly competitive. So from the Netherlands all the way to Belgium, and Kim Marmans, Coach Richard Bromley, who also builds the sleds for the 28-year-old. She too competed here in the Olympics back in 2018, which does seem like a lifetime ago. 6 years has been a weird 6 years in the middle. Finishing 14th in the games, 16th in the World Cup the year before that. 5:07. Nice swift getaway for Kim. Dealt with 2 relatively well. These early corners come at you fairly quickly. You don't have an awful lot of speed on board. Still in the green. 1200s up at the start, went out to 1900s up, down to a 10th. Big double hit and a lot of scratching and scraping. Speed not as good at the bottom as Kimberly Voss, so she was out to 1900s up. Is that enough to keep her in front? Out to 16 across the line. Just enough to keep her in front. 1/100th of a second in it. At the line, that all dropped away. It got a little wild. 53.75, 1500s back. So Kimberly Voss leading Kim Marmans. Here's the double tap. Little chicane section, you can see the toes coming out to straighten things up. A little wild. It's been a long while since most of our international athletes slid here. And we're in our top group in terms of their World Cup standings. And certainly in terms of their experience. Janine Flock here in her 105th World Cup skeleton race. Finished 4th in the games here back in 2018, having been 12th in the World Cup race. It was effectively the homologation race for the track. 2-time World Cup champion. 36 World Cup medals, including 10 golds. Let's see what she's got. 5:25 getaway. 600 slower than Kimberly Voss. One of the older athletes in the field, 35 years of age now, Janine Flock. Oh, just a little high on the exit. Out of 8, up to 9. And a pretty clean exit, a little bit of toe steering from 9 down into 10. That was a pretty decent exit. 9 is one of the key corners. Big speed out of 14. 600s back. She's closed the gap right back. This could be enough to put her into the lead. It is 53.54. Coach Nicky Grunberger, like that one, tidy things up at the bottom. Long, rangy athlete, always stylish, a little skid coming out of 8, straightening up really quickly. Best exit of 8 we've seen so far in the first 3. Mystique Rowe next for the USA. One of our real fast starters. First time here in PyeongChang for her. So she finished 2 runs in the Asian Cup last weekend. Let's see what she's got in terms. Are we going to be in the low 5s? Are we going to dip into the 4s? Ooh, little skid there, 5:03. That's a really good getaway. Ooh, excellent 2 bites her though. It's relatively warm here. In the games, beginning of training, it was -27, -28 every day, and even in the races, it was in the low minus teens. It really got wild. Exit of 8, tap and a skid. 500's back, but slowest speed we've seen so far. Head up, just getting that line into 14. Third best speed, so finding a little, but drifting away. And 6600's back. Matt Antoine there, her coach. He raced here as well in the World Cup and in the Games. So only 4 male athletes who competed here in 2018 are still competing. And I think it's the same in the female field as well. 7, in fact, raced in the World Cup here in 2017. Mystique Rowe was not among them. And 8 of our field did compete in the Winter Games in 2018. Valentina Margalio was not among those, her first Games in Beijing. But looking towards her second Winter Games, and that will be in 2 years' time in Milano Cortina. In fact, at the end of next season, so not quite 2 years. Now, a Red Bull sponsored athlete turns 31 on Friday. So her birthday weekend, not spent enjoying herself with friends, enjoying herself on ice, and a great start, 4.99. That gives her a real good opportunity. Not a bad exit from 2 to 3. 3,900's up. Only the 4th best speed. That gap will shrink. So it's grown, but only 100 more to 4/10. Needs to build speed a little lower down. Out of 8, big double hit. Speed dropped away on the ice. Late exit as well. She came out of corner 12. Holding her form through 14. Huge skid there to 15. This is all uphill and punishes you in terms of speed. Crawling across the line, 54.86. Well, she probably won't need Coach Willi Schneider to tell her where it all went wrong. She will have felt all of those. Excellent starting as ever from Valentina. But here again, out of 8. Came off too early, hit the wall again. And thrown off the sled. She just about had enough momentum to get over the rise. But it's a long walk in from there. Next up, Jackie Pfeiffer, as Jacqueline Lerling raced for Germany in the Olympic Games. She actually won the pre-Olympic race here in 2017. So she's the only World Cup winner on this track, and was then beaten to silver in the Olympic Games by Lizzie Arnold. So Jacka now 29 years of age. His trainer Christian Bauder at the back. She won't have a start like Valentina. Let's see what she's got in the drive. 5:38. Finished 3rd and 8th in the Asian Cup races last weekend. 2,200's back. So many German sliders, has the ability to find speed on the track with good, smooth driving. 2,100's back. She's bringing the gap down. 2100s at the moment covers the top 3. 600s covers the top 2. Chaka with third best speed. Janine Flock still the leader. And Chaka in her 62nd World Cup race. Don't forget she was out of the German team for a season and a half. 4400s back. It all sort of drifted away down at the bottom. There's Axel Jung going full in for November. 53.98. Back, that was so much better midway down. Turn 9.10. She was almost within a tenth. And then drift bottom of the track. So lost speed before the uphill section. But the start was neat. Exit 8, just the tiniest of touches there. Another big smile from Jackie Pfeiffer. Well, next up is our reigning Olympic champion, Hannah Neiser from Germany, just 24 years of age. First time racing here was last weekend. She finished 7th and 9th in the Asian Cup races. Of course, all the World Cup sliders were in there, so that's sort of a World Cup form as well here. 7th best start, 5:39, but 6th best velocity. She didn't quite than her teammate Jackie Pfeiffer, but she did carry a fraction of speed. Not closing it though. 7th at the start, still 7th on the splits. 2300 back. Nice exit out of corner 8. Now she starts to bring it back with the best speed we've seen. Whoa! Big loop in 13. That's slowing her down up the hill. The gap's growing again. And across the line in 4th place, 3600s back, 800s ahead of Jackie Pfeiffer. So 53.90, 53.98 for our 2 German sliders. And as ever, in a talent-packed German programme, everybody in pre-season having to fight for their places. Hannah Neiser, best German slider in the World Championships in Koenigsee in March, finished in bronze. But she is our reigning Olympic champion. So, is there no end to the German talent? Well, it doesn't seem to be. The conveyor belt is working well. This is Suzanne Kreher. First time here for Suzanne. 18th World Cup start for the 25-year-old. And our 2023 World Champion in St. Moritz. Let's see what she's got. We've seen 53.9s. 5:15, considerably quicker getaway than her teammate. 4th best start. Good so far, only the 6th best velocity, but 800s up, 10th up at the start. She had grown that, but it's shrinking. How close to parity here? Oh, a little late off 8, 600s to lead, and only the 6th best speed. Elbow out as she comes from 13 to 14. Big steers going on down here at the bottom. So a bit of self-preservation going on with some of these steers, and the speed goes away as a result. 54.24 at the bottom. So Suzanne Kreher comes in 7th place. You can lose so much below corner 12. Decent start, 5:15, 4:99. Valentina Margalio, the fastest starter, but finished behind Suzanne. At the moment, Suzanne Clare in 7th spot. So our 9th starter in her 9th World Cup start, Tabby Stoker from Great Britain, just 23 years of age, already a World Cup winner. Finished in 23rd and 23rd in the Swiss Cup races last weekend. Race winner in Lake Placid, La Plagne last season, 5 flat. So let's see what Tabs has got. 4.99 the fastest start, 5.0 for Tabby Stoker, and that adds to that advantage. Early speed carried through 2 and 3. Moving out of corner 6, little dink in 7 sets you up for 8. One of the key elements. Looking good so far. Out of 9, 10. Ooh, big skids. 6 best speed, lots of toe dragging and helmet on the ice. One or the other, not quite sure which. Out of 14, still in the lead. 1200s it was, 4 tenths over Janine Flock. This is going to be tight at the line. Has she got enough to lead? No. 1500s back in 3rd place. Again, it's the higher speed corners at the bottom that are causing a few problems. That's because they're losing speed a little earlier on in the run. Natalie Dunman there at the bottom, performance director of British Skeleton. Coach James watching the start, not much wrong there. Stayed a little too far to the right as she came off 8.
Hi everyone.
Big hit on the
Hi
wall.
Mum. Hi Pat, love you.
What am I? Okay, moving on. Hallie Clark, our world champion, the Canadian now, beg your pardon, we're not moving on to her, we're moving on to Katie Eulander. Well, she too is a world champion, not quite as recently as last year. Finished 13th in the Winter Games here in 2018, finished 8th in the World Cup. Katie now in triple digits in her World Cup starts. This is her 100th since 2006. Still need to figure out exactly how many races she did before that. 1400s back from a start 5.29, just 400s behind Janine Flock. Big hit. Nice straight run. Drifting into 12, little high off 13. Skidding into 14, that is going to rob the speed. 6500s back. 5th best velocity still at the bottom. And 9th at the line ahead of Valentina Margalio. So Katie Eulander, 2012 world champion. So she's competed here in the World Cup, the Winter Games, in the Intercontinental Cup and in the Asian Cup. And still loving life. And even with her experience, plenty still to learn about this place. Janine Flock leads from Kim Boss and Tabby Stoker. Kim Malmans is ahead of Hannah Neisser and Jackie Pfeiffer. That's your top half dozen. So 10 down, loads to go. Here's our world champion, Hallie Clark, now 20 years of age. In her 15th World Cup start. Hallie finished 19th, 20th in the Asian Cup races. 5.22 getaway. Oh, hit out of 2. Straight away into the red. That takes away the speed early on. Look at that, only 9th best velocity. She's going to have to be super clean here. Try and gather that back up. Out of 9. hits down the wall. Hasn't got a huge amount of speed at the bottom of the track. The gap continues to grow. This might be a 10th place run. It is ahead of Valentina Margalio. 54.57. Coach Joe Cicchini watching at the start. Well, corner 2 has been the demise of many a promising run. And it was certainly the start of some disasters for Hallie Clark. And here out of 9, skidding away, clattering both sides. And again, late exit here put her into a bit of a skid. Not as skiddy as Valentina Margalio was. So still in 10th place, but loads of sliders to come still in this 38-strong field. Now, what about Chao Dan of China? 21 years of age now. Finished in 8th and 5th in the Asia Cup races last weekend. Her first races on this track. This is her 21st World Cup start. She started her 3rd full season as a Chinese World Cup slider.
Start time for Hallie Clark was 5.22.
One of the sweet in the field, 8.18. That's really shout. That is the 6th best start in the field. 500's up on Janine Flock, but only the 10th best velocity. Down into corner 5. Oh, and a lot of steering going on into 6. Out of 9, exit 10, tags the wall, skidding over into 11. 9th best speed, should be a top 10 run. 6th fastest start, 8th best speed, still a top 10 run. Should put her just ahead of Hallie Clark and in fact of Katie Eulander, so 9th place. She rallied nicely at the bottom. Lots of sliders have lost speed further down, but she lost less than they. So 6th fastest start, 9th at the bottom. Not a bad takeaway from there. 8th and 5th last weekend in a similarly huge field, in fact an even bigger field, because there were more non-World Cup qualified athletes in the field.
Welcome to China.
Well, we will head to China next week for a single race week in Beijing. Now then, first of our debutantes in the World Cup field is 28-year-old Corinna Leipold. And Corinna from Berchtesgaden, started back in 2013. Europe Cup champion last season. Medal in every single race. 5 gold, 2 silver, 1 bronze in the 8 races. Second in the ICC the year before. Finished 11th in both Asia Cup races last weekend. 5.22 the getaway. And looking, as you would expect, neat and tidy early on, but working a little too hard for it. Only the 10th best velocity, so 8th best speed at the start, drifting out to the fringes of the top 10. Nice neat exit though. 9 and 10, and the 6th best speed. Whoa, a little wild out of 13. 5th best speed, driving herself. Will she be ahead of her start number? Yes, she is, from 8th at the start to 7th at the bottom. So 54.10 for Corinna Leipold. Best German slider in 5th, Hannah Neiser. Jackie Pfeiffer is in 6th, Corinna Leipold in 7th. Not a bad looking exit there from corner 10. And that all helps keep the speed alive. So, welcome to the World Cup to Corinna Leipold. Next up, Amelia Coltman. Amelia in her 12th World Cup race start. Here today, 28 years of age. Raced here twice in the Intercontinental Cup, 7th and 8th in 2020, 3rd and 1st in 2022, and then finished 16th and 12th last weekend. So she's got decent experience. World Cup best result of 4th place in silver in Latvia, 5:23. Nice start as well. Hundreds off the lead, so not quite holding the speed at the top of the track that Janine Flock did. A bit of a hit there as well. Head and shoulders were up in these early corners. Not feeling the love. The 4th race weekend on the track. I'm not sure what the setup is on the sled. It looks like it's a little wild for her liking. Maybe the race day ice preparation has changed the field since training, since last weekend's Asian Cup. She's sagging down the order. 10th best start, 13th at the bottom, behind Hallie Clark, and a 10th ahead of Valentina Margalio. Shaking her head there, talking about corner 2. Well, you can see early on some big hits on the transitions. And again, as she's coming down out of 10, that little chicane section gets 2 hits there as well.
Thanks for watching this year.
So I have been on the road for a while. Nice new belly pan for Brazil's Nicole Rocha Silveira. Nicole now in her 28th World Cup start. 30 years of age, from Calgary in Canada. 10th and 13th in the Intercontinental Cup when she raced here in 2020. 2nd and 1st last weekend. That's how you start the season off. 5:17, 6th best start, 6th best velocity as well. 100th in the lead. Not quite as quick as Kim Marmons. Ooh, skidding there, owning the 8th best lead. Wimbley Boss, who's currently 2nd, was fastest there, and some very wavy lines from Nicole. Really had the track nailed last weekend. It's very skiddy at the bottom and hits happening as well. Across the line in 12th place, a 2nd back. .54.56 for Nicole Silveira of Brazil, currently in 12th place. World Cup best finish, 7th place in Innsbruck.
Olá, galera.
But with 2 medals and some injuries already on this track, you can see how low they keep their heads when they're on the sled, but occasionally when you get whipped around, yeah, you get that contact with the track with the chin, and of course there's not a lot of skin there over the jawbone. It splits pretty easily. So from Nicole Silveira to Jane Channel. Jane, now 36 years of age, 72nd World Cup start for her. Finished 13th in the World Cup here in 2017, 10th in the Winter Games in 2018, 21st and 18th here last weekend. Let's see what the slider from North Vancouver has for us. Well, what she's still got is speed at the start, 5:07. Excellent getaway for Jane Channel. Fourth fastest starter in the field. 5:07 put Kim Milmans in fourth at the bottom. Jane still with a lead over Janine Flock. Now they're really similar athletes to watch. 1100's back, but the speed going away. Working too hard in corner 9. Hear that helmet dragging along the ice. 15th best speed. She's gone from 4th at the start down to 12th place at the line. 54.50. It's going to be interesting to see how the track is bearing up in what are relatively mild conditions. Kevin Boyer helping with the sleds at the bottom. And Jane's Japanese and Canadian heritage being reflected in her helmet. Well, not a bad looking exit, little skid. Not too bad at all. The speed had kind of gone away by then. Next up, Liu Qi for China, 26 years of age. Li now in her 19th World Cup start. Racing here for the first time though. 24th and 20th last weekend in the Asian Cup. Start 5:14, good, fast getaway. So what has Coach Dirk Jansen's got for his athletes in this race? 6th best speed. Oh, but that didn't sound smooth. Big skid and some very solid impacts. There'll be a lot of bruising there. 16th best speed. This may well leave her last in the field at the moment, behind Valentina Margalio. Really looking very short on speed at the bottom of the track. 55.73. Just about gets to the top of the rise. That might leave her struggling to make the field for the second heat. Came off way too early there and paid the price in terms of bruising and speed. And again, late exit there, flopping around. Puts you late onto the next turn. Disappointing bottom half of the track there for Lee. That might be her done for this race. Now then, for Italy, 24-year-old Alessia Crippa in her 24th race. There's her coach, Willi Schneider. Coaches the athletes, builds the sleds. She's got the Edelweiss there on the helmet. Always likes to go for a themed helmet look, Alessia. Last year it was a poker ball. 5:09, very strong getaway from the Italian slider. And out of 2, good crowd there, a little clip on the wall. 1800's up, but there's the speed. That's the result of an unfortunate 2-3 transition and lots of skidding there. Oh, ow. Well, she held her form even as the sled rotated and she was going head first towards the wall. But the speed has all gone. And this will give Valentina Margalio a little bit more of a boost
5.93.
She comes across the line slowest of all, 55.93. Alessia was 13th and 21st in the two races last weekend. This is more of the latter than the former, isn't it? Again, off too soon, hits the wall, gets a big skid, doesn't straighten it. Ow. Well, she's still got a smile on her face. Next up for Great Britain, second of our British sliders, Freya Tarbit. Only the 9th World Cup start for Freya. 24-year-old, her first time here. Most of the British sliders have not been on this track before. 17th and 14th last weekend, so she's clearly learnt it fast. Talking of fast, 5.20 at the start. Nice and smooth into 2, nice transition into 3, and that's what keeps the speed alive. So she's come from 500s ahead of Janine Flock to 100 behind. Was she smooth because she was smooth, or was she smooth because she's got a little too much grip on the sled? That's not a bad transition, not the greatest, only the 14th best speed. 12th at the start. Oh, an uncomfortable transition onto 14. A couple of big waves there. 14th, 12th at the start rather, and at the moment 16th ahead of Valentina Margalio. And Valentina started 2100s faster than Freya Tarbit. Freya finishing 300s quicker than Valentina. So 54.83 slide. Currently 16th in a field of 19 who have gone down. Is that enough to guarantee a second heat? Well, not enough to guarantee it. It might be enough to get through into the top 25. There's still quite a lot of good sliders to come.
Back home.
They're not overjoyed with that, not bouncing up and down. But it might be enough. So next up is the third of our Italian sliders, Alessandra Fumagalli. And Alessandra in her 14th World Cup start. 11th and 10th last weekend. Right, so I beg your pardon, it was Alessandra with the Pokeball last season. Still has. 12th place in late final race of last season was her best World Cup result. Let's see if she can continue with that upward trend. 5.17 getaway. Tap into corner 3, still with a slender lead over Janine Flock. Look at the speed, the velocity, not great. I'm wondering how much speed there remains in the track. It might be a little tough to tell, because most of the sliders who are yet to come are less experienced than the ones that have gone, and usually not as quick. It's hard to tell what is slider. Track. Quite a lot of errors here, but she's driven herself back up from 20th to 18th on the splits, and at the line stays 18th. Caleb Smith there, who's helping out with the Italian coaching. In between trips to Barolo and various other wine regions. He is a not just a wine connoisseur, he's a vintner as well. Grows his own grapes. I was going to say grows his own vine. Does sort of grow the vines, but for the grapes makes wine in New York State. Just whiskers away from the wall. That wasn't a bad exit. That's what helped her pull herself back up into the top 20. So 20 sleds down. Top 6 remains unchanged, but it's a little further down where we're going to see the interest with Liu Chi and Alessia Crippa at the bottom of the top 20. They are the ones who may be in trouble. All 3 Italian athletes in the bottom 4 as we get to Sara Roderick from the USA, the 31-year-old in only her 9th World Cup start. Has raced here in the Intercontinental Cup, was 8th in 2 races back in 2020. Finished 15th and 22nd last weekend. And a quarter of a second in the lead off a very strong 5:04 start. Just 700s back. It's a very nice looking run for Sara Roderick. Maybe a little hard transition there, takes a toe steer to avoid dragging it down the wall, but the speed is going away. The gap is yawning wide. Outside the top 20, she's going for the 4th best start. This will be probably 21st place at the line. It is 56.05. Finished 9th in Lake Placid at the end of last season on US ice. Her best World Cup result. And you can see how much speed bled off in the second half of the run. She didn't get up to the top of the outrun there. Again, realised the drama there coming down late off corner 10. Big toe steer to avoid a massive hit on the wall on the right. And again, big late hike there. See, she's got her right elbow out, really steering hard. You wrestle these sleds down sometimes. Less than ideal for speed, though. Sometimes survival takes precedence. So for Czech Republic, Anna Fernstedt. Now, she has got good history on this track. Anna finished in 6th place in the Winter Games back in 2018. She finished 7th in the preceding season's World Cup race. Let's see what she's got here. 3rd and 4th last weekend, 5.30. She raced here as a German slider. 20th best speed, 20th on the splits. 4/10 back. This is not going as well as any of her previous races here. 17th best speed, finding a little more down at the bottom. Good pace last weekend. A little issue again with time zones and her diabetes treatment. 54.89 for Anna Fernstedt. So she comes across the line in 18th spot. And that ought to be enough. Liking a nice new helmet as well. Born and bred in Berchtesgaden, came up through the German program. Christopher Schuler just outside the track at Koenigsee.
Good run.
And sliding for the last few years for her native Czech Republic. So dual nationality slider. And here's another one. Kelly Delka started sliding for the USA, now representing Puerto Rico. 24th World Cup start for Kelly. First time at this track, finished 29th and 25th last weekend. Could do with a little bit of that today to make the field. Lake Placid, last race of last season. The World Cup best result 11th, but a big hit in 3 was the last thing she did. 23rd at the start, and still behind Sara Roderick. big double hits down into corner 12. Can she find anything at the bottom? She looks like she's got a little better pace than a couple of the sliders. And still a few meters of ice, 21st best speed. Does she overhaul Sarah Roderick at the line? She does not. 56.77. So very much a self-funded athlete. Spends a lot of her time raising the money to race. And effectively running the Puerto Rican Skeleton Federation. Massive heart and determination, Kelly Delka, and a couple of unfortunate errors there, really wiping off the speed. Again, big late exit there, you can see how the sled bounces on the track. That might be enough, that might be enough. It's going to be a little tough watching the next few sleds for Kelly, for Sarah Roderick, maybe even for Alessia Cripper. They're the bottom three at the moment. So now then, there could be trouble here. Second World Cup, beg your pardon, Kelly Curtis, 18th World Cup start. Kelly returning from a year off, having her baby daughter Maeve last November. 12 months on, she was back on ice again, 5:21. She actually was on ice in March. She was one of the 4 runners in Lake Placid for the America's Cup race, for the final World Cup race of the season. Really still trying to find that balance between being a mum with a baby on tour and trying to recuperate the body from pregnancy and childbirth. And then, of course, dialing yourself back in after a year away where all of those race synapses get a little rusty because all of the other bits of life are coming in. 15th best at the start. Hovering around 22nd, 23rd position. Will she be ahead of Kelly Delka or behind her at the line? She is ahead of Kelly Delka. So behind Sarah Roderick, her US teammate. Katie Ulender, top US slider at the moment, 11th. Kelly Curtis might just have done enough there to get through into the second heat. So great to see her back as well. Lives in Italy with her husband. So a long way from home in a lot of ways. She did actually say when she came back to Lake Placid that returning to the sliding family was quite nice to get back into a bubble of lots of people that she knew. It's a long road back. And there's a few mums who'll tell you that. Song Si-ji of China now. Made her World Cup debut in Lake Placid. So this is her second World Cup start. 24-year-old was 32nd and 31st last weekend. So first time here on this track, officially at any rate. 5:35 getaway. 10th off the start, 3 tenths back already. And there's the reason why. It's 25th on the ice, only the 24th best speed. Now, this stage of her career, obviously, she is looking to try and overhaul anybody with so little relative sliding experience. It's only her second World Cup, but she's only spent 3 or 4 years on ice learning to get to this level. 19th best speed. She's driving herself into the race off the 22nd fastest start. This might be 22nd at the line, it is. So 55.98 puts her in 22nd. And that is the field full, 25 sleds. So 25th, Kelly Delka, 24th, Kelly Curtis, 23rd, Sarah Roderick, all in the drop zone and maybe Song CG as well here in 22nd place. Managed to get away with that exit from 10 into 11, not too badly. So 25 down and 13 more to come, and some with experience to make it into the field perhaps as well. And we've got Korean slider yet to come as well. First though, our 26 slider is the second Belgian athlete, Lena Peltmans, just 22 years of age, 8th World Cup race, did race here in the Intercontinental Cup. She had 2 top 6 finishes a couple of seasons ago, then finished 31st and 33rd here last weekend. Well, nice looking style. We saw Joske Leconte at the top, just to train with her Belgian teammate Kim Milmans. She trains with Dutch rival Kim Vos. Nice smooth looking run, 26th fastest start, 5:45, but driving herself into the race at the moment. 20th best speed. This is looking a little better. I think this is the end of Kelly Delka's hopes of making it into the race. Comes across the line. Well, she's 18th fastest. I think this could be 24th, maybe even 23rd place. 24th place, 56.31. So she is in at the moment, and Kelly Delka is out. Kelly Curtis is balanced on the knife edge. Well, she was building a little bit of speed further down, but then at the final part of the track, it all just sort of drifted away again. Dealt with corner 9 pretty nicely. That exit of 10 was decent. There's Lena Peltmans from Belgium. Does she get a second heat? Well, might be a long wait actually. Nothing's guaranteed at this level. And especially with still 4 debutantes to come. We don't really know the measure of sliders like Liang Yu-Chin, youngest athlete in the field, 17. Raced here in the Youth Olympic Games in February, finished 15th, 22nd and 28th in the Asian Cup race at the weekend, last weekend, and a 5:18 getaway. She has got what she needs to get into the race. She raced in a field of big names last weekend. It wasn't just Asian sliders, it was everyone. The lights and the camera's going to make a difference. The 12th at the start. She's only got the 22nd best speed, hovering around 23rd, 24th place at the moment. A couple of clean corners will see her in, a couple of errors will see her out. 25th best speed. At the moment, she is still in the race ahead of Kelly Curtis of the USA, and she ties with Kelly Curtis of the USA, 56.57. What does that mean? Well, it means that if nobody beats their time, they will both be in, because they are both 25th fastest, and the top 25 go through. Again, exit of 10, big skid. See all the ice spraying off the runners. Even with these rounded runners, when they get sideways on the ice, really slows the sled dramatically. Well, 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 and welcome to the World Cup to Yang Yu-Chin of China, our second rookie of the day. Second of 5 first-time sliders. 7th World Cup race for Switzerland's Sarah Schmid, another of our teenage sliders. She's now 19, 41st and 39th in the 5 deep Asian Cup field last weekend. Debut in Milano last season. Bit of a hit early on off the 20th start. Skid. 6500s back. This is neverthelessly in the danger zone for Sarah Schmidt. Oh, and I think that's the end of her hopes of going through. The track she knows better, she can produce the goods. World Cup best result, 12th place in Altenburg of all tracks. A really rough, tough track. She's lost all speed now. Lowest speed at the final speed trap and a 57.18. So no second heat, I'm afraid, for Sarah Schmidt, nor for Kelly Delka. But at the moment, Liang Yuqin and Kelly Curtis are in the race in 25th together. Huge height, right up on the woodwork. So Sarah will come back and try again tomorrow. Second World Cup of the season will be tomorrow. Next up, Debutant for Estonia. Started her career as a Latvian. 23 years of age. Her birthday is next Sunday, so that will be celebrated after the race in Beijing, which is on Saturday. Only her 6th World Cup start. Racing since 2016, made her debut in January 2021 in St. Moritz, not in Sigulda. 2 races for Latvia, 3 for Estonia. Now doubles her start count for Estonia over Latvia. And a hit from 2 to 3 is going to rob her of precious speed early on, and much earlier than we would like to give away. 19th fastest start at the moment, drifting out of the top 20, out of the top 25. A little bit more speed lower down, and she can tidy this up. Not sure she's got enough to move up into the top 25. She might be able to overhaul Sarah Schmidt of Switzerland. Where is she at the line? 28th, 29th, 28th ahead of Sarah Schmidt by 100th of a second. I beg your pardon, by 1100ths of a second. So tidying it up at the bottom, finding that extra bit of speed. That wasn't a bad exit. Had to drive it quite hard off 10, but didn't bleed away too much time below that on the run down to corner 12. So Data in 28th place. So that is her done for the day. 1 heat only. Next up for Switzerland, Julia Simchen. Just 22 years of age, and in only her 8th World Cup start. She made her debut in La Plagne last December. A number of sliders didn't start the season in Beijing. 13th in Altenburg, her World Cup best result. Altenburg being her home track. No market, she's St. Moritz is a home track. No, she comes from Altenburg, so Altenburg is a home track. And Connie Simpson slid for Germany. Wiki, her dad, slid for Switzerland. Jean Wiki, his dad, slid for Switzerland as well. And she slides for the Swiss. 30th fastest start, 5:48 at the moment. Is in 30th place. 26th best speed. See if she can find a little bit more pace. Still a relatively new slider, and with time on her side as well. It was 22. Well, so many of these athletes, when they were starting, basically had a 2-year COVID-enforced hiatus where they really did very little competition and really advanced their knowledge very little. If you had loads of knowledge before the enforced layoff, then all well and good, but if that's when you were really trying to climb the foothills of the sport, then yeah, just sort of put everybody on the back foot a bit. 10 into 11, getting that little double tap. So, Janine Flock, Kimberly Boss, Tabby Sturker, the top 3 covered by 1500s. Certainly not counting out Kim Marmans, Hannah Niser or Jackie Pfeiffer. 30 sleds down and still 8 to go. 31st is another debutante and the second youngest athlete in the field, and one of a pair of sliders from her family. So this is Nana Johansson of Denmark. 4th in the Olympic Games here in February. She's got 2 recent experience of this track because they had qualification races here as well. She's 40th and 32nd in the Asia Cup race last weekend. Like her brother Rasmus, has been taken under the wing of the Germans. She's been coached by Anja Huber-Selbach. Bad looking run actually from Nana Johansson. 22nd best speed, but a lot of skidding and scratching out of sight. Dragging herself towards the top 25, 29th best speed. Well, she might be ahead of Julia Simpson. She might be ahead of Sarah Schmidt. No, she splits the Swiss sliders. So 57.46 ahead of Julia Simpson, but behind Sarah Schmidt. So again, oops, careful, careful, careful. Welcome to the World Cup to Nana Johansson from Denmark. Little tap there, but it just sends her over onto the wrong side. She gets that second heat. Well, there you go. World Cup debut made here on the Olympic track from 2018. So, for Korea now, we have our 4th debutante in the field, 23-year-old Hong Soo-jung. And there's Richard Bromley with the sled. 12th and 17th, that in fact was Jeff Payne, 12th and 17th in the America's Cup, in the Asian Cup rather. She has only raced though in America's Cup in USA and Canada officially. Oh! Dreadful load, hand slipped off, somehow the sled didn't pop out of the groove, but her mind will be racing and her heart will be pumping even more than before. So Hong Soo-jung, the 23-year-old from Korea, well, there, her World Cup career can only get better, can't it? When you almost don't make it onto the sled in your very first start. This is the first official IBSF race. It's in one of the sanctioned races here for Asian athletes in March 2023. Here in November 2024, it is in the World Cup field. Well, it will be one and done, I think. With that start, it's hard to imagine her getting in. She is 31st at the line, actually ahead of Julia Simpson, but a real disaster. And I sense possibly we might see her start again. 57.95 for the record is the downtime. Well, let's see what happens. So she's pushing with the left hand. She slips and falls on the ice. And amazingly, the sled did not come out of the groove. So 2 or 3 steps in, lost traction with all those tiny needle spikes in the shoes. Down she went. Well, what a horrible way to start, but she recovered her composure well enough down the track. I think tomorrow, hopefully, will be a little better. Well, from a slider with no World Cup starts to a slider with one, Canada's Grace Defoe made a World Cup debut in St. Moritz last year, where she finished in 25th spot. She was 9th and 8th here last weekend, in the Intercontinental Cup 2 years ago. 35th and 41st here last weekend. It will be an uphill struggle trying to make the field. 5:28 though. 24th best speed off the 23rd start. She starts off with what she needs. I'm not sure what equipment she's running on, but it's making a lot of noise. You don't often hear a sled making its Metallica rattle races. Now, it might do that all the time. I have to say, not experienced enough watching her to know. Occasionally, when you hear things making a strange noise, like when it's your own car, there's often a bit of a worry. 23rd at the start, out to 31st on the splits at the moment. The speed is not there. 33rd in line, 58.16. So did make the cut on her World Cup debut in St. Moritz, in a considerably larger field. I'm afraid she's not going to get a second heat here today. Well, these later athletes struggling with the temperature of the track, even though it's late afternoon. The spritz has gone, the speed has gone. Well, there's one of our Olympic athletes from 2018 turned coaches, Anda Mirambel, with the sled for Ana Torres Quevedo of Spain in her 7th World Cup start, the 23-year-old in her 2nd World Cup season. Vamos indeed. 11th and 10th here in the Intercontinental Cup in 2022. 36th and 35th last weekend. She made her debut in Beijing on the 17th of November 2023. 364 days to go. So tomorrow, race 2 here will mark exactly a year since her first World Cup start. 5:62 start. Best result in her World Cup debut season, 15th place in Altenburg. It's not a bad transition, could be a couple of hits, but we've seen a lot worse than that. 33rd, chasing Julia Assumption at the moment. To get into a top 30 in the field with this many sliders and on a track that you don't know is always going to be a tough ask. 34th place for Ana Torres Quevedo, and not a lot of speed in the track at all. Well, when the track is being prepared for the race, it has a fresh glaze of ice on it, like when they send the Zamboni out on an ice hockey rink. It has that effect, almost polishing the track. Right, that's sprinting up the hill. There you go. Big smile on Anna's face. No second heat for her, I'm afraid. Now then, also helping out with South Africa's Nicole Burger is Anda Mirambel. It's the first time that I can remember seeing a South African athlete of any kind in an IBSF World Cup. So her debut, the 30-year-old, congratulations. Obviously based in the UK That works for the Royal Air Force in the UK, like Reece Thornberry did when he was sliding in World Cup and the Olympics. He's here, Reece, in the Olympic Games. 5:25 getaway, that's a decent start for Nicole Berger. Know very little about this athlete. Finished 27th and 30th last weekend. Her first official race was in December last year in the Europe Cup in Debutant, the short sprint track in Austria. That's a nice looking line. 27th best speed. This is one of the best speed, one of the best sleds, one of the best drives as well we've seen in the last half dozen sleds. But again, the speed is not there to help her. The track is really sucking the speed out of the sleds, and at the line, 29th place, 57.17. I have a feeling that off that start, 22nd best start, and with the lines that she produced, I think Nicole Berger could have done more than that if the ice had helped. Now, the women will race at the same time tomorrow, so hopefully the lessons will be learned. Men will be on ice later tonight. Well, there's Nicole Berger. Welcome to the World Cup. To Nicole and to South Africa as well. Is there no end to Anna's presence in the start line? Well, right now, no, because we have Clara Aznar from Spain. Clara, 17 years of age. Now, I said Yang Shin is the youngest athlete. I'm now going to have to go back and compare days, aren't I? Not years. It's Clara, also 17, from Zaragoza, former speed skater in her 4th World Cup race. Big height on the excellent 2, big hit on 3. Debut last November in Beijing, so a year ago tomorrow. Same as her teammate Anna. Not a bad looking run here, actually. Again, here, I think that is toes rather than helmet when she goes out of sight. That is helmet, definitely. Hit on the excellent 14, now going uphill without that speed. 16 was really quite steeply uphill. 4.99 back, 58.53. So that leaves her in 36th spot behind teammate Anna. 500s in it, just for the honour of being the best Spanish slider at the moment. Ana Torres Quevedo, 500s ahead of Clara Aznar. I think both of them, in fact, all of the sliders probably outside the top 15, would have been quicker, not necessarily better, but certainly with higher speed, I think. Athletes been hurried out of the track to clear it for the remaining sliders. 2 left to go. So Anna Zauliter of Austria. 3rd World Cup start for Anna, 25 years of age. She had really good results in the Asian Cup races, 19th and 16th. If she's going to make the field, well, you're going to have to wait and see. That's not helping. Former luge slider, well, everybody who starts in Innsbruck starts in luge pretty much, because most of them start at the age of about 3 or 4, genuinely. Little bobbleheads toddling down to the lowest start house and doing the final few corners as they learn their craft. Lots of head steering going on, elbows are out. 28 speed. She's going to be ahead of 4 or 5 sleds at the moment. Just no speed left in the track though. 30-second start, 30-second at the bottom. I think that was a drive probably that deserved more, but not anything left to offer this track. I may have had the refrigeration on not too hard to avoid it frosting up. I'm not sure whether it's getting frostier or just softer, but what it isn't is getting any quicker. So Anna Saulita, 32nd at the line. And we get to our final slider from Colombia, Laura Vargas. Formerly slid for Canada, an ex-figure skater, second ex-figure skater in the field, in fact. Raced here in the ICC, the Intercontinental Cup back in 2022, 5th and 9th. Then 38th and 42nd last weekend. So starting at this end of the field, I'm sure she knows pretty much what to expect from the ice. 5:52 getaway. World Cup best was on her debut, in fact, in December last year in that plan. She finished 27th. She was still looking to make the field for the second heat in a World Cup start. This isn't a bad-looking run either, is it? There you are, there's the curse. The commentator takes 2 bruising hits, particularly that hit on the left shoulder and left upper arm. That's really going to hurt. Through 14. Knight has very much fallen during our race, during our first heat. At the tail of the field, 59.16 for Laura Vargas, so no second run for her, and starting 38th. I'm sure she was fairly sure that that was going to be the outcome. I don't suppose that the track was promising much for later runners. And of course that does really penalise those who are late in the draw by dint of their lack of experience or lack of previous results. Because the later you go, the worse the conditions of the ice have been, and the slower the track. But she always has a big smile on her face. I mean, this is a sport that if you don't have the passion, you just aren't going to do it. I always say they're all doing this for the love, because there sure ain't no money. Yeah, well, both arms, both elbows are going to be bruised. And our first heat leader on this track, and the best place slider in this track. Janine Flock, 4th in the Winter Games. We have the Winter Olympic silver medalist on this track in the field as well, Jackie Pfeiffer. But Janine Flock, one of the most experienced sliders in the field. It's a race between her and Katie Eulenders, who has more World Cup starts, but is Janine Flock with a slender lead over Kimberly Boss and Tabby Sturker. Don't count out Kim Marmons or Hannah Neisser or potentially Jackie Pfeiffer. And look at the rest of the top 10, very tightly packed. So too, some of the battles down towards the bottom and the middle of the top 20. And then the top 25 go through. So Liang Yushin, the debutante, and Kelly Curtis, the returning mum, will both go through. Our second heat will have 26 sliders in it, rather than 25, because we don't split them when they tie. Well, that is it for the first heat. Second heat will begin at 5:45 local, 09:45 Greenwich Mean Time, and that means 04:45 Eastern. And that will be in 1 hour, and I'm trying to subtract now, live on air, and that never goes well. 1 hour and 21 minutes. We'll see you then.